Board of Works to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Scott, would you start us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tina, would you please call the roll?
Member Collins?
Here.
Member Lewis?
Here.
Member Williams?
Here.
Mayor Lynch?
Here. We have the approval of the minutes from December the 14th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 14th.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Joetta. Is there any discussion on changes? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. We have new business. We have lease purchase of the police cars. Ted, would you like to speak to that, or Scott? We did have a minor change on that this morning, so.
Well, I can only speak to the questions that I raised in an email. I know Councilperson Podorsky has worked very closely on this project with Chief Candiano. Most of the information that we received on this lease in Dropbox was the financial side of things, but I had some questions regarding the terms of the lease, and those questions were raised, and if you would like, Mayor, I can go through those questions. There's 5 of them, and what the response was.
Yes, please.
All right. My first question is, what is the penalty with most leases if you exceed the allotted amount of miles, which in this case was what, 25,000, right, Deb?
Yes.
My question was, if we exceed that amount, what is the penalty per mile? And the way that they addressed this is they felt the 25,000 miles per year for the term of the 5 years were sufficient, more than sufficient. So it's very unlikely that we would incur any additional fees associated with exceeding that amount. I also had a question to what happens to the vehicles after the lease. Evidently there was a document in Dropbox I did not see. So what happens is we turn the cars back in. If we want to purchase that car, there is a fixed amount that's stated that we can buy the cars for, or our second option is just turn the cars in. Correct, Deb? So that was addressed. I was concerned about repairs and who's responsible. In this document, it is recommended that we buy the warranty. The warranty is for 100,000 miles, but I was concerned about routine maintenance such as oil filter changes, transmission fluid changes, tire rotation, new tires, etc. Those types of things would be handled like they're currently handled now, and that's down at the street department. And then any major repairs such as brakes, replacing a transmission and engine, would have to be done at the dealership. And my concern was, do we have to take the car all the way back to LaPorte? And the answer is no. We can take it to any Dodge dealership. And then I had a question about the equipment that is needed to outfit the vehicles, such as the laptops, the docking stations, radar, those types of things. Those are actually going to be rolled into the lease, so we don't have any out-of-pocket expense. So those would just be returned with the vehicles if we choose not to buy out the vehicle at the end of the lease. So all of my questions were addressed. I appreciate the quick response on that, but I understand now there may be a difference in the lease dollar amount than what we were given in Dropbox. Is that the case?
Well, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, and I'll share this with you, Scott. It says laptops, old and new. What does that mean? Is that the old price and then a new price, or what is that?
Yeah. So
they've lowered the price for the laptops, but the docking stations is more, from $522.87 to $607.04.
That was information that was received this morning.
Can you step forward, Tab? We can't hear you.
That was information that came in an email this morning from our IT company.
How much less are the laptops?
I believe that was sent by Justin, correct?
Justin and then Mike forwarded it.
Justin and Mike, yes.
So can you give us the new figures and what are the laptops? I'll just write those in. They were $2,084.09.
And now they're $1,871.98.
And what about the docking station?
The docking stations were $522.87 for the old price, and the new price is $607.04.
And the decals didn't change?
No,
The radar?
no.
And the, what is that? The upfit? What is that? What is an upfit?
Upfitting is where they install these things, put the lights on, that's upfitting.
Oh, okay. And that's the
The
same,
installation.
7104?
As far as I know,
I've got
it has
nothing
not
else.
changed, I don't believe.
All right, so it almost looks like it's a wash. It's really close.
Well, it saves us about $115
How
per
much?
car, $115 a car. It'll save us that much.
Okay, thank you. My math's not,
According to his email, it probably will not change the lease, even if there's a savings. It probably will not change the lease.
amount? Yeah.
So those costs are just rolled into the lease?
All those costs are rolled into the lease.
So I know there's a timeliness issue here because these cars, there's minimal inventory. That's one of the things that I understand going to this dealership in LaPorte. They have worked closely with other police departments, and they've been very happy with the arrangements. So, you know, I feel comfortable with this lease. I think the questions that I had and raised were answered in a very timely fashion and a very sufficient fashion.
I have a question. So it says there's zero money down, so there's no upfront cost for us? What about the existing cars? Our existing cars, vehicles we already have.
They would be,
So we have several options.
Yeah.
Vehicles that we own, historically what we've done is we've either distributed through other departments within the city that may need them.
We've sent them to auction. We've used them as standby vehicles in case we have a breakdown. We've used them for our reserve officers.
Okay.
Some of them are so far gone that we use them for a parts supply.
Okay.
To be more, so if we blow a motor or transmission, we would have one handy, wreck a car and have a door, things like that. So to give you a precise answer on exactly what's gonna happen to each one of those cars, I'd be lying to you.
Can't tell, but
We have to have, we have this pool of things that we can do with these cars. So what happens with the cars that this will be replacing could come from anything with on that list, if that makes sense.
depending on the condition of the car.
Depending on the most efficient use of that old piece, and obviously we go through this board before we dispose of any properties.
Thank you.
So the cars that we would have, I mean, it looks like you're getting 16 vehicles?
Yes.
And so you'll be taking 16 that you already have, are those all paid for?
All those vehicles should be paid for, and all those vehicles, they're going back to like 2016, 2013 in some cases. They all have over 100,000 miles on them. So these are vehicles that there should be no note on anywhere. It's not that last lease batch that we were talking about prior. So these are cars that have been purchased by the city, some of them nearly a decade ago.
Is there 15 or 18?
Well, there's 15 for the police, it looks like.
Two or per.
two of the park, the two trucks from the park that was in the, and then the animal control needs to be replaced.
Is it the ProMaster?
One
That's
of
the
the
animal
issues with
control?
the animal control vehicle, to give you an idea, it's a Pontiac. They don't even make Pontiacs anymore, so parts, even repairing that
Okay.
vehicle is a difficult situation. So that's the age of these vehicles that we're talking
All right.
about, just for disposal. Does that answer your question, Mayor?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the total of the lease payment per year.
It looks like $132,054.96
Yep, that's what
from
I
the
showed.
first, without the changes.
132, 54, 96.
And that's with the warranty?
Yes.
Yep, that's all included.
And
That's everything.
That's everything.
Outfitted, vehicle, warranty.
That's for all the vehicles?
yeah, 18.
Inclusive of the park and animal control.
So that's the total of everything.
Of all of
So really for the police
PDs would be 116.
Would be 111.
500, something like that.
Do we include
You
the,
take the 15 plus that quartermaster city, which belongs to animal control. That would be PDs, and then the other two would be the two park vehicles.
Yeah, it's about 116.5.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be what fund is gonna pay for it, because neither department can afford capital purchases. So, I mean, CCD would be available to use, or lit, but just keep in mind that those funds were used heavily to cover other departments this year. In all fairness.
so how much is in the police department for replacement of vehicles?
0.
That's coming out of the CCD.
And the CCD is COVID,
It's cumulative business development,
Okay.
increased current law.
how much is in that?
There's plenty to cover it. This year's, the 2022 budget's about 500,000. So the funds are available, this, in 2021, though, the CCD fund, because it can't be used for any lawful purpose, because used a lot to cover expenditures that are normally paid for the MBH fund, that we couldn't absorb.
And these payments are all gonna come in 2022?
At some point.
Do we know
I mean, we
when?
gotta get them first, we gotta get outfitted first.
When are they talking delivery on these vehicles?
It takes months and months to put the cars together, so the availability and deliverability depends on how fast we can get them out to Federal Signal, which is the company that upfits them, and then gets them back to us.
Do you know if they require down payment?
Do they require
Do they
down
require
payment?
down payment?
I don't believe so. I
Says
believe
zero.
it's all within the lease.
So will we have that CCD money available next year to pay for these vehicles?
January 1st?
Well, it's for next year, I mean, technically it's for
Right.
2022, so.
So the status of
I
those
guess
funds
the
today doesn't
second
really
part of
matter.
the second quarter,
Okay.
maybe.
Probably within the second quarter. I don't see
Probably
these.
first payment, I would think, would probably be like part of the second quarter, first of the second quarter.
And that's part of the urgency with this, is this all takes time, so we're on a fleet that's deteriorating, and, it's gonna be, I'm thinking into the second quarter before we're even gonna receive these cars.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we're gonna be repairing the cars.
Well, I have no doubt that the longer we use older cars, the more it's gonna cost us.
Yes.
Right.
So if we can get this done, my question is just, if this is for 2022 and we're gonna have this money
Sure.
in
Sure. I believe
2022, I just wanna
CCD
know that answer.
It's a separate tax, if I'm correct, and it replenishes annually.
Okay.
What about the two, cars for the parks and the car for the animal control? Will those be months and months, or will those come sooner?
No, I believe they're gonna be months and months, and if I have my way, the police cars are gonna be first. Because there's gonna be a mechanism to get this done, and there's gonna be turns to take. And I haven't personally had that conversation with the chief, but that will be my argument, is that we need to get our squad cars first done and on the road. That affects both the safety of our officers and the safety of the public, the condition of those cars.
I'll make a motion that we move forward the purchase of the police cars for next year and the park department
Would
truck.
you make that motion contingent upon legal review, because I'm getting this stuff in piecemeal.
Okay,
So I'd like an
absolutely.
opportunity to take a deep dive once we get it all.
Right.
Okay.
When we get the actual lease.
I'll make a motion that we approve this lease contingent upon legal review and that the funds are there in 2022 to pay for it.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Jamie, seconded by Joetta, and this is contingent upon legal review. Is there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have the approval of certified public expenditure statement, EMS billing reimbursement.
I had a conversation with Dan Kodachek yesterday, just to make sure I understood the amount that we're gonna get reimbursed from the federal government. And the amount we're gonna get is 100% that's allowable from the federal government, which is the $94,911.45. We don't get anything back from the state. The state keeps that money. So the feds give us 72.5% of the eligible amount, and the eligible amount is the $141.84.23, and we get 72.5% of that, and that brings us to the $94,911.45. So I make a motion to approve this money that's eligible to the city for Medicaid reimbursement for ambulance.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Jamie. I do have a question. So this money, does that all go into a special fund, Nina?
It just goes into the general fund as miscellaneous revenue.
Okay, and then does some of that get segued over to the,
No, it's appropriated.
okay.
So that doesn't go right back to the fire department budget?
It's gotta be appropriated to the department.
It can, but it would require an appropriation.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the proven IT quote for City Hall temporary location. AJ, do you want to speak to that?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, members. Yes, before you this morning is a quote from Proven IT to provide services related to moving the operations of City Hall here to Woodland Park. It'd be staff's recommendation to approve this quote so that we can continue with that effort.
A couple questions, if I may, AJ?
Yes, sir.
Does this also include relocating back to the new city hall?
No, I believe this is the work that's going to be related to moving us here.
So we're moving that equipment from City Hall here to use for the park department in the future? Is City Hall getting new equipment?
We are temporarily relocated.
This is the IT solution. So this is the IT work. The equipment that's currently in City Hall is being transported to Woodland Park beginning tomorrow. Some has already been delivered. So this is the work that's required to provide the IT solution here at Woodland Park for the period of time that we're here temporarily operating as City Hall.
And Jamie, do you know the reason why we're moving here temporarily?
No.
It's because of removal of asbestos in City Hall.
Okay.
It has forced the moving
So at some point we'll move
City
this-
Hall operations over here temporarily.
We're gonna
Can-
get preschool.
Yeah. Okay. Can you also let Proven know that we're a city, not a village?
I will.
I appreciate that.
We're used to that Illinois situation.
We're the biggest city in Porter County, by the way, just saying.
So, just to let you know, Jamie, that when they discovered that there was asbestos in the glue that was holding the tiles down, and they had to take the tiles out, we all got together and talked, and we felt it was safer for the employees, for everyone to be completely out of the building.
Okay.
This is a great company that's gonna do this abatement, but we just felt for the safety of our employees that we need to have them out of the building. We're looking at possibly 3 weeks unless something would go awry. So most of the sad part is most of Woodland Park isn't Wi-Fi friendly.
Right.
And so it's gonna require a little work to get us here, jetpacks and things like that, so that's why we had to bring Proven in.
So it's all,
They're not
the whole
moving
City
our
Hall, clerk
equipment.
department too?
They're not moving our equipment, we're moving our own equipment, everybody's just bringing their stuff.
But they have to hook it up.
But they have to hook it up.
Okay.
So the total amount is the $5,157.47?
Yeah. So AJ, one last question. When we were done and we moved back to City Hall, will all the stuff that they did just stay there, and then maybe in the future they will get better connectivity?
No, some of the investment will stay here. Others will not. Really, it's this building and then the old preschool were set up for the network. Obviously, this building has had operations in it for a number of years, and there was a period of time when the Parks Department used the preschool building as part of the daily operations of the parks. So both of those buildings are set up for that. Some of the work is really just making sure that we can plug in and start our work again as a temporary city hall. So some of the work is work that will be to the longer term benefit of the folks here at Woodland Park, but some of it is really just a temporary sort of investment to make sure that we're able to continue providing that service for that period of early January.
The Comcast for this building has also been boosted, the internet speed. It will be at the 200 megabytes per second now. It was only at 50.
So they were able to get that done, because I know that there was a challenge with getting Comcast. I mean, the ultimate fix here is to get wiring from Willow Creek Road into the park and make this whole building user-friendly, because it is a warming shelter, it is a cooling shelter, and yet it doesn't have the connectivity, so it's underutilized, and we need to fix that too.
So this is, Mayor, that's right. This is
totally
an absolute start to making sure that things are running better here. But again, as the Mayor said, the long-term solution is going to be a real investment to bring that infrastructure into this building so that this building and the folks working here can operate more effectively.
So we will need a motion to approve the proven contract.
I have one last question. If we approve this contract, when do we have to start paying them? When do they expect money?
As soon as the work's done and the next invoice would come in, I'm expecting that in the new year.
And Jamie, I believe that Nina has said that because this is part of our City Hall remodel, it will come from the bond.
Yeah.
So there is money aside for that.
I have one question, and because you said this was just for the move coming to, like, would there be another fee?
Yes. There's going to be a temporary setup back at City Hall following the conclusion of the asbestos abatement. When certain functions that were moved here move back to City Hall, the intention, I believe, is to have the clerk's office, the mayor's office, to temporarily be using the Phase 1 improvements at City Hall. So there will be a temporary solution that will need to be provided one more time. And then once Phase 2 construction is complete, which is the lobby of what we all know as City Hall, the improvements to the clerk treasurer's office and related improvements in the area, then that will be the permanent solution. So there will be an additional temporary quote that will need to be provided following this work.
And again, Joette, I believe that will come from the bond.
Okay.
It's the proceeds that we had set aside for this move, so.
Okay.
And this entire project, actually.
Okay, well, I make a motion to approve the proven IT quote for $5,000, $157.47.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Joetta, seconded by Jamie, to approve the proven IT quote for temporary relocation from City Hall to here. Is there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you.
I did put out a video this morning, so the public is aware. I will probably do an all-call for the end of the week. just to let people know, but if you do know people, just let them know. There will be banners across the front of City Hall saying that City Hall has moved here. There will be a banner out front that says Woodland Park / City Hall. So we're doing everything we can to let people know that this is a temporary solution, but they're going to have to come here for business. We have bulk item appeals. Randy?
Just one, Madam Mayor and members. Last month on November 23rd, the board decided a bulk item appeal of a total of 3 charges, 25 each. One was on 8/24, 10/12, and then 10/19 of this year. That the board upheld those charges last month on that board meeting. The actual owner is here today. She's filed another appeal and she's desiring the board to hear her explanation of those. The one that we're considering today for sure a reversal is on 8/24. I understand that the homeowner at that time sold the home to Ms. Mays at 5709 Independence, and they put out a bulk item. She was actually charged where the previous homeowner would have been charged. But for the other two, if the board does have questions for Ms. Mays, I mean, at this time she could approach the podium and answer those questions for you. So.
Good morning, and thank you for hearing me today. As the gentleman said, the first item, it was not mine, it was the previous owner's, and there were 2 other items. I had been in and out of the hospital, so I was behind on my bills, but I did not know that I couldn't use my own can in the city. So once I found out that I could not use my own can, I purchased a new can, and they told me that's what the charges were before, because I purchased the can to put my garbage in. So those were the other 2 charges. When I became aware of that, I did what I needed to do. I bought a city tote, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. And I paid all my bills are current. I just was unaware that I could do that, which is why I incurred the charges. So I was just asking you all to be gracious to waive those fees.
So you incurred a fee because there was items in an unacceptable container?
Yes, sir. A can that I bought from Myers.
Okay.
And
you put that to the curb?
Yes, sir.
And was this garbage or was it recycling?
It was garbage. It was garbage.
She didn't obviously have a city toter at the time, right?
Right.
So you thinking that you needed something to put your garbage to the curb, you went and bought?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we assessed a fee because her garbage was in an unapproved container.
Yes, according to policy, if it's outside an official City of Portage toter, it's considered a bulk item. That's all extra cans, bags,
Okay.
everything. So
Now, that makes, I see what you're saying.
And you had not yet received a city tote, that's what you're saying?
No, I have a city tote, but I had extra. Yes, I had a lot.
She got an extra one. We could bill for a second one if you want, and so she requested a second.
Yeah,
one.
because they're free, right?
No.
No,
No,
second
Well, the
quarter
first
cost.
one is.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear that.
A second quarter, if you want an additional toter, it costs.
You paid for that.
Yeah, so when you first moved into your home, you received one,
Yes,
correct?
one of
And then
each,
you-
garbage
yeah,
and
the
recycling.
And then if you want a second one, you purchased that one.
Yes, ma'am. I have 3 boys, so I have extra garbage. I did not want to put it on the
It
ground.
said there.
Oh.
Okay.
I make a motion, we waive sounds like the 2 months that was I make a motion, we waive that.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Jamie, seconded by Scott, to waive the additional fees. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming today and explaining that. That means a lot to us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
have claims. So we have several different claims on here. We have the standard register of $91,946.63. Let's just do these separately, but I do think there was an addition on there, Nina, that.
Yeah, Diane had to add, the police merit board, pension board to
Okay.
it for $600.
So this is $600 more than,
Correct, yes. And then actually, if we want to also add the proven quote of the $4,550 also to this, that way I can get it paid. Actually, I'm sorry, there's cabling and telecom hardware, so the actual total is $5,157.47.
so would you tell us how much that total is?
So, the total standard claims is the $91,496.63 plus $5,157.47.
What's the total then?
And then the $600.
So it's $96,654.10.
Could you repeat that again, Nina, please?
$96,654.10.
And these are separated why?
So these are separated, just for clarification, because of the conversion of the chart of accounts, payroll might be posted separately. Normally, it would just be posted with regular claims, actually, though, the town of Highland always has separate payroll claims, just for transparency purposes, I suppose. So that's why the payroll ones are separate. And then because of the strict accounting rules of the ARP funds, those will always be a separate docket.
Okay.
So we're just approving the first one at $96,654.10. I'll need a motion and a second to approve that.
Make a motion to approve the claims for the general operating expenses for the city of $96,654.10.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Joetta. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one question. So, I understand. So, none of this is payroll, right?
No, not this one.
I don't know how to ask this question without answering it. Are we paying vendors and not paying employees? I know it's separate money.
No, so there's a difference between a cash balance and appropriation balance.
And I get that.
There are funds within the city that have temporary loans. When a fund has temporary loans that it's operating on, you cannot request an additional appropriation from the DLGF. They will not approve it because it's got a permanent source of funds. So that has to be.
So that's why they're separate and,
Well, the claims are separate just because they are processed separately. That part isn't nothing to do with each other.
okay.
Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. So we have the payroll register, $1,346,363.27.
And this is through the pay date of 12/17.
12/31?
What'd you say that again?
12/17.
12/17?
So this is checks they got
They've already.
already. So when we approve something, the checks have already gone out?
For payroll, because certain claims can be paid ahead of board approval,
Okay.
like utility bills, payroll, contractual services, certain contractual services, payroll.
Okay.
motion to approve the payroll of, $1,346,363.27.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Joetta, seconded by Scott to approve the payroll. Are there any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So we have the Board of Works ARP fund. I see there's two on here, Nina. Are they separate?
They're separate because, so the smaller one, the $14,924.82, if you remember, the council back in September had approved, some expenditures. Those had to be backed out because then the state board came out with different guidelines and then it required an additional appropriation and that to be submitted to the DLGF. So the claims that were already paid had to be backed out and paid for by another fund. This is now correcting that and paying it back out of the ARP fund.
Okay, so we don't have to approve both of these though, because
One was-
I
it
see
was
your
already-
server is in this.
Right,
folder.
right. It's just for sheer transparency. That's all.
Okay. So we actually only have to approve the one. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's just for me, like I said, just for a matter of transparency because they had to get backed out and then back in. So I just want to just being clear.
So we're approving ARP funds of $80,879.80.
Yeah, the $14,924.82
Is rolled
was
into
already,
this.
it was already approved previously.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the ARP fund for $80,879.80.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Scott, seconded by Joe, added to approve the ARP funds. Is there any further questions? And we're gonna be going through this as we spend the ARP funds. This is gonna be an ongoing thing for a while. So, I mean, this will probably pop up
Yeah, anytime.
quite a
we do
bit.
expenditures,
Every
yeah.
time we need to spend that money, we have to come before this board to get approval. If there are no further questions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We have major illness claims, Dan?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I approved 5 major illness claims for the board's review. It would be my recommendation that the board approve those.
Okay. We'll need a motion to approve 5 major illness claims.
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I make
We
a
have a
motion
motion
to
by
approve.
Joetta, seconded by
I'll
Jamie,
second,
to approve 5 major illness claims. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any other business to come before this board? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.